I don't own the rights to this song, but this is Hezekiah Walker. It's going to get better. And it's going to get better. No matter how it feels today, it is going to get better. And that's what we're here to talk about today. It's going to get better, and we're going to be talking with the mayor's mayor. The mayor's mayor on LaRuelist Cafe, Ras Baraka. And I tell you, I also call him my sonny boy. I just love him so much. And I got to stop saying that because he's all grown up. But it's going to get better.
That's all right.
Bring him on in. Mayor. How are you, Mayor?
I'm excellent. How are you?
Thank you for coming on. I'm doing just great.
Good.
We are so excited that you are here today on the LaRuelist Cafe. As you know, we are doing this live on several platforms. We're on the LaRuelist Cafe on Facebook. We're on my personal page. We're also on YouTube, and we're on what we call the LaRuelist Report. So all of those platforms are viewing you today. And as you know, with all of your updates that I watch every day, people will come back over and over and see what you said on this day, May 28th. So thank you for joining us. Tell me, you got a big job ahead of you, sir. How are you making out?
Pretty good. Stressful some days, but you know, that's part of the job. You know, we every day trying to do what we can to keep people healthy, keep them alive, focused, and you know, make sure they make good decisions for their families. Yeah, and at the same time continue to run the city and, you know, pray that we get this thing back together economically and open up safely.
Have you personally lost some friends during this pandemic?
Well, my wife lost her uncle, you know, during this. There, you know, people that I know, Andre Harrell, you know, other folks like that I know who have lost their lives. Police officers in the city of Newark.
Oh yeah.
Officer Clegg, who was a great big time supporter, always part of the Bronze Shields, community guy, died of COVID here in the city. So yeah, it has been personal.
You have you've made some tough decisions by keeping people not only stay at home, but stay in the house from time to time.
Yeah.
Tell me about that decision. You had to come to it, but I know it was tough.
Yeah, these are tough decisions, but when you look at the data, it tells you plain what the story is. The data always tells the story, and the story, which has been the same all over the country, is that, you know, in cities like Newark, Black and brown people in close quarters and with other kind of pre-existing issues are succumbing to COVID in large numbers, you know, disproportionately than everybody else, and we just don't have the right infrastructure to social distance the way everybody else does. So we really have to be more careful and calculated than everybody else.
And what does the data look like today? Where did you start out in March? What did the data look like in March?
Well, March 14th was our first case. In 2 months, we are at 7,000 cases.
Oh my God.
Right. So, and we're at close to 600 deaths in the city. We have the largest amount of cases and the largest amount of deaths in the state here in Newark. So yeah, it spiraled out of control really quickly. By the grace of God, our numbers are going down. We first started testing in April. We first started testing. You know, we had a 68 to 71% infection rate. So that's how high it was. If you were tested, you had the probability, it was 71% that you were positive. Now we were, maybe 2 weeks ago, we were at 14%. So we want to continue that trajectory and keep going down. And I pray at the end of this week that we're even lower than that.
Well, I'm praying that you're lower, and I'm also praying that these stats will hold. I listened to the governor today, and I noticed that there seems to be a little bit of concern that more people showed up in the hospital over the last 24 hours.
That's right. That's right. I mean, as you know, he eases things open, people start thinking that it's over, and they behave like they were behaving before. New Jersey has done an awesome job, by the way. You know, we like one of the top 3 states in terms of significant decreases in positive cases. The residents and the people of the state did an awesome job in adhering to social distancing, doing what they were supposed to do, and particularly in these cities, because if these cities went crazy, then the numbers would be high because that's where we densely populated. And so all of these cities, you know, from Irvington to East Orange to Trenton to Camden, you know, Newark, you know, Patterson, all these people did what they were supposed to do by the grace of God. And so the numbers began going down. But when people start going outside, they become more susceptible to the virus, and they spread it.
Yeah. Yeah. And are they wearing their mask? They're keeping the mask on?
For the most part, you know, I would say a good 60-70% of the people are wearing a mask correctly. You know, there are other people, then there's a percentage of people that have a mask on under their chin that is walking around, you know, for show. And there's some people who are defiant. I think there's this kind of idea that wearing a mask makes you like weak or something. I don't know where that comes from, that idea. I mean, it's like this Trumpian mythology that you walk around with this mask on that it makes you weak. The reality is the mask protects other people from you. So it's more about your community orientedness and your ability to care for and respect other people's lives more than your own.
You know, one of the things I am wondering as I look at what has happened during this pandemic, and I get upset when I hear people say, well, you know, the African Americans are dying more from this. And I mean, it's just so disheartening every time. It seems no matter where we go with various issues, we're up there in the high numbers and its disparity. Yeah. And what I'm wondering, what have we learned from this?
Right. That's a good question. I mean, what we need to learn now is that we have to, you know, our community specifically in terms of we have to begin to build the kind of infrastructures and institutions we need to take care of ourselves in our community, to begin to treat ourselves better, to treat our community better, to eat properly, to do all the things that's necessary so we won't be the target. And then in the larger place, you know, these inequities that have existed for a long time, we really have to push to close the gap in a lot of these areas around healthcare, around access to food, around housing, all these issues that are making us more vulnerable. We have to address them in policy kind of oriented ways, and not just, you know, get upset and yell a little bit. We need real policy, real concrete steps toward fixing these issues, or we will continue to be the victim of all of these things.
One of the things that I'm going to be, because as you know, my day job, I'm a lobbyist, and I am so proud of you. And I mean, there are so many magnificent mayors that we have right now in the state. And I'm looking at the very vocal, ironically, there's a lot of females who were put in the legislature, a lot of women of color, Latina and African American. I'm going to be leaning on all of you with the little time that I have left on the face of the earth. We've got to get more vocal now, because this pandemic just, it tore the scab off of something that I didn't really want to see.
Right.
And I know you're ready for this fight, but I'm telling you, we're coming for all of you guys once things begin to open up. And that leads us into Newark is reopening. Tell us about the reopening of Newark.
Yeah, well, we're June 1st, we're going to put out a kind of comprehensive plan around a whole bunch of things as we move forward. There's going to be a 2-week spacing between all of these things. So we're just not going to come on Monday and say, oh, you can go to the beach. On Wednesday, oh, now you can go to the store. On Thursday, oh, now 50 people can be outside. We are going to say, these are the things that you have to do in order to open up very specifically. You can't just open up without getting these things done. And then there's a 2-week period before we open something else up, so we have a room to retreat. So you have to advance, and because this is war, you have to advance, and then if the numbers start getting crazy, you have to be able to go backwards and retreat. And so we got to have a 2-week period between all of the things that we do in the city, and everybody has to, all these businesses have to submit a plan of how they're going to open up in a socially distanced kind of way. And we're going to color code it, right? So you get a yellow for a moderate, and green for low, and red for high infection probability, moderate infection probability, low infection probability. We're going to put that in stores and in different places around the city. So it allows people to make a decision on their own. Like if you go to the hotel and you want to go swimming, there's a sign that say no lifeguard on duty, right? So now you have to make a decision whether you want to jump in a pool or not. And that's what we want to be able to do, allow people the opportunity to make a decision for themselves and their family, not to go in there if they don't want to.
So one of the things that I noticed, we have Brandon McCoy, who is watching right now. I don't know if you and Brandon have met each other yet, but I will tell you that if you haven't, I'm going to get the two of you together. He heads up the New Jersey Policy Institute.
Nice. Not
the proper name of it, but you get the drift. Very similar to the types of things that Ryan Haygood do.
Oh,
and the two of them know each other well. I am hoping, which I don't have to ask because I know how you operate, that as you reopen the city, you're also bringing in these amazing minds to sit at the table with you as you move along the process.
Absolutely. We have a full committee of folks, we call it a reopening and recovery strike force that we put together of a myriad of different people around the city and the private sector, the higher ed community, the health community, business community. We have folks from Prudential. Latha Reddy is heading up our economic recovery subcommittee. So there's a few folks that we have, and we try to put all our brains together to figure out how to do this in a smart way and in a methodical way that we could save lives and recover at the same time. And I think it's possible to get done. I think they're not mutually exclusive, and people are making it that way. Either you open up or you get high cases. We just have to be thoughtful about this and deal with it in a scientific way.
And one of the other things that I would offer you to think about, I notice in our news feed right now, people are giving you shout outs and saying, any way I can help, please let me know. And Mayor, folks are really serious about this.
Right.
We all claim Newark as our city. I remember when I was up there with the Barnabas system, and when they talked about having a performing arts center in the city of Newark, people were laughing. It's like, there's no way in the world there's going to be a performing arts center in Newark. And I look at the way that NJ PAC has flourished. I look at what Tanisha Laird, I see she just came on with a whole bunch of hand claps going on in the news feed, what she has accomplished. You just have people all around this state. We claim you. You're our mayor. You're the mayor of Newark, but you belong to every last one of us. And just make sure that if you need some additional help, call on us. Because, I heard that W word come out of your mouth. We are in a war. This is a war. And when you're in a war, you need a whole lot of other people coming to the table. One of the things I want you to talk about, the Deaf Poetry Jam. Because I'm telling you, I felt like I was back in the 60s. I was around the house with my fist up in the air, and I was glad to, these young people who do their poetry, they're great. But yeah, and you used to be young. You're not young anymore.
Yeah.
Since you and my son went to college together. But these old G's coming in, telling it like it is, I was all into that event. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was awesome. And Tanisha's on, so she was a part of helping organize this with Danny Simmons, Russell Simmons' brother. But he helped organize the original one as well. Brought Russell Simmons into it, convinced him that this was the right thing to do because Russell had the Deaf Comedy Jam, and so they did the Deaf Poetry Jam. And some of the original folks that were on there, Black Ice was on there before, Jessica Kim was on there. As a very young guy, I was on there when I had hair. I was reading an American poem that was, you know, a very long time ago, and so they did a reunion. I think it was like a 3 or 4 hour marathon. It was great, man. Some of the folks that I wanted, I haven't seen in a very, very long time. You know, Willie Perdomo and you know, all kinds of other poets like that. I was excited, and they had celebrities up there as well. So it was a great showing. Did an awesome job, and I was happy to be on there.
Well, I can tell you it was 3 hours because I was there for 3 hours, and I was so sorry to see it end. And when you did your thing, oh my goodness, I was jumping up and down. I mean, and you wrote that yourself, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Now you know your dad is happy and proud of you. And by the way, how's your mom doing?
She's good. Thank God. She's good. She's good. I spoke to her yesterday. She's doing well.
Good. Give her my love. I have every once in a while, I run the photo that I took with her at one of your birthday parties.
Oh, okay.
Where we had she said, get over here. Let's put our faces together. And it was the nicest photo. I just love her so much. I see our Assemblywoman, Angela McKnight, on here. She's going to join us next Wednesday with some things to say. So they're all tuning in to hear what our mayor has to say. Now, your brother, now tell me, your chief of staff. See, you guys are so entertaining for us during this shuttered in. I said one night I was looking, because whenever your live feed comes up, I always click on it. And I said, the mayor is going to teach us how to make tea. For real, for real. So you were talking about all the things you put in your tea and tasting it along the way, and then Mitty decided he's going to have his jam session.
That's right.
Do you join the jam? Because I'm dancing with him now. I dance with him.
Yeah. I listen to it upstairs. You know, we listen to it, jamming, while cleaning up, while doing all kind of stuff. So it's definitely helpful. In this time period, is definitely helpful.
Well, he's helped me work off some weight. I actually lost some pounds while I've been on the shelter. I didn't know how I did that, but I feel pretty good. Feel pretty good. So Mayor, you got a big thing coming up tomorrow. The virtual citywide family meeting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just grabbed like regular folks from the city who have like a following on social media. People listen to them. So really, like you call these people like influencers, if you will. They're on social media. They like either doing like fitness stuff or self-help or developers or, you know, people that people know in the community, and just really talk to them about what's going on, how they making it through this pandemic, and really trying to get them to help us urge other people to stay safe. You know, as we open up and the summer comes along, just trying to get them to talk to the residents with me about the seriousness of what we're dealing with and why they should in fact social distance and how they can cope during these difficult times, what it is that what they're doing. So it should be very, very, very good for a lot of Newarkers to tune into. Now,
those of us who have claimed you as our mayor, can we tune in as well?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I'm coming.
Everybody
to the family meeting, 6:30 tomorrow.
Yeah.
6:30 tomorrow. So family meetings, families, we got to make sure everybody counts. You know, we do head counts with the family and everything. We have another head count coming up, and it's called the census. Let's talk about this census.
Yeah.
So important.
Incredibly important. We are trying our best to get people to, it would seem like people in the house, it should be easier for them to do the census, but it hasn't been. We've been, I talk about the census as much as I can, at least 3 or 4 times a week on my live, trying to get people to do it. We're getting ready to start helping people fill out the census at the testing sites. So that's the new thing we're going to try to do there to get more people to fill it out. We are like nowhere near where we need to be. People just have not done it, or they haven't got the mail and they don't have the code. So they feel like because they don't have the code, they can't do it. But that's not true. They can fill it out and we can still turn it in. And they just have to do more work at the census to verify it. But you still can fill it out, and you should fill it out. The numbers are on our website. You can call even if you don't have the physical paper, you can call
Mhm.
and do it over the phone. You can do it on the internet, at w2020census.gov. You can do that there. So it's multiple ways that you can fill it out.
And see, one of the things that I don't think people realize as well, it does matter who we send to Washington, D.C. And those numbers with the census will determine our representation down there.
Absolutely.
I served on the Congressional Redistricting Commission for the last time around. And out of that, we got 2 districts where we could say it was a pretty good shot that we could have 2 people of color going to D.C. At the time, Rush Holt served the area where Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman is right now. But the way that district was carved out, all of Trenton was put in it. We knew it might be a long shot, but we thought maybe someone Black could actually win that district. And we were right about it. So I'm hoping folks will fill out the census, be counted. I'm also hoping, Mayor, that people will come out in July to vote.
Absolutely. We definitely need that to happen now more than ever. And no matter what the issues that people have with specific candidates, or you don't like this one or that one, you need to get out there. This is like incredibly important for us. At this point, as you can see what's happening nationally in our country, we need some real representation down in Washington, D.C. And so we have to do what we can to make this happen the right way for our folks. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, did you have a rally last night, some kind of event last night with Ryan Haygood, or didn't? No.
No. Ryan had a meeting, but I didn't have. There was no rally.
Okay. All right. Because I'm looking at. I know we have some issues here in Trenton with violence has increased over the last 3 to 4 weeks, and I don't know what your stats are looking like down there, up there in Newark.
Mm-hmm. So we don't have a significant increase. We don't have an increase at all, actually. But we are witnessing violence during this time. Definitely, people are taking advantage. We have over 150 officers out, right? So people don't understand that COVID affects everybody.
Yeah,
it doesn't affect the people who are not working. It affects police officers. So, and when somebody gets sick, you have to quarantine everybody that's around them. So, and people take advantage of that, and that's probably happening in many municipalities around the state. That you have fire officers out, police officers out, sanitation guys out, and so it makes it difficult to do the services, deliver services that you need, and so it leaves communities more vulnerable. So I could see crime escalating in cities.
Yeah. I talked about this last night. We had a show dealing with some of the corrections issues, and one of the issues that I want to talk with you about before you get off here, and I represent the FOP, Fraternal Order of Police, at the state level in communications, and so I'm the keeper of the statistics daily. How many people are quarantined, how many people tested positive, how many officers have died. And you're right, people don't realize that with all the other first responders, police officers also on the job are coming in contact with folks who are infected, and they are also feeling it.
That's right. We done have 4 funerals in the city, already of police officers. So it is we're feeling it in Newark.
So we have a situation going on nationally. We woke up this morning in Minneapolis. The city is burning. Mayor, what?
It's unfortunate, that the city is burning like that. People are tired of nothing happening, right? If something like that happens. And that to me, it was just blatant and inexcusable what took place there. And the mayor, Jacob Frey, whom I know, they did the right thing and fired the officers You know, in my mind, I guess people want him to prosecute them, but he has no authority to do that. You know, but you know, ultimately, people want to see some restitution. They want to see something happen as a result of this man losing his life like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and we have to be swift about it, and that's I think that's important. And then we have to have better relationships with the people in our community. Newark is under a consent decree because of behavior that has taken place in our city for decades.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we under consent decree. I think we've been doing an awesome job just improving the relationship we have with our community. Our complaints are 80% down based on the relationship with the police, and I think the cops have been doing a better job. We have to go. It was a long way for us to go still, but I think we've come a very long way from where we were. But that Minneapolis issue is really a terrible and disgusting thing to display. And it makes you scared. I have a son that I'm trying to raise, and it's definitely frightful for parents who have boys, black boys that are out here, that they can lose their life so arbitrarily like that.
Yeah. I was telling an officer friend this morning, we were talking about this, and I repeated to him an issue that happened to me up in North Jersey about 20 years ago. My grandson, the one who's now 34, I was in a car that was actually part of a fleet from Barnabas, and it came out of Victor Chevrolet. You know, the old Victor, they're owned by someone else now. And I was at the Livingston Mall, and they had, the Barnabas said, you know, we want you to drive this Pathfinder, and said, we'll take care of everything else later. And it was already a part of, you know, it was registered and everything. I get to the mall, and a guy stops and looks at me, and he says, he didn't talk to me, but he looked at me, and then he talked to my 12-year-old grandson who was sitting in the passenger side. And he said, where did you get this car? Now, it happened to be the guy who was the head of Victor. He went to my 12-year-old black grandson who was sitting in the passenger side. And I said, sir, who are you? I'm driving. He's a kid. He's 12. And he said again, the cops are coming. Where did you get this car?
Wow.
And so when the cops showed up, I was a little hysterical. I didn't know what was going on. And then it dawned on me, oh, this is a Barnabas car. So I called the CEO at home, and the CEO said, put me on speakerphone. And the guy apologized profusely, but that's how quickly things can go wrong. If I didn't have a number to call, it was 12 years old sitting in the passenger side.
I believe it. And it's just really terrible that this level of racism still exists, even it's getting, you know, and Will Smith said something interesting. He said it's not getting worse, it's just being filmed.
It's just being filmed. I saw that, just being filmed.
So, you know, it's just out there so people can see what's actually happening.
Yeah. Well, Mayor, I have so much enjoyed this time with you. I know that the audience has as well. And see, I sing a little bit, but I am not going to sing. You already know I love to dance. I can't dance, but I love to dance. But I'm not going to dance today. But I'll tell you what I want you to do. You know, in the honor of your father, who I just followed every single thing he did. And here he has an educator. Guy came out of the most powerful. Sorry, I know my grandson, who's the producer here, came out of Penn. But you know how we feel about Howard University, HU. You know, right?
You know, that's right.
You know. So I'm going to ask you, please do a poem for me. I don't care what it is. Say something. Do a poem.
Yeah, I'll do something. Actually, Do It All from Laws and Underground was also a Newark native and still lives and works in the city of Newark. He did a song called Keep the Faith, and I actually wrote a poem that goes into that song. So I'll read that one.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I appreciate
it. Only for you. God shaped us in the darkness of our mind, blew breath in the palms of our hands, fashioned the wind at the footsteps of our enemies, and called generations into existence, making the dark stone the cornerstone, created us out of the deep heat of the Sahara, the raging waters rising out of the Gulf of Guinea. We were born this way, black on purpose, painted the color of the ocean floor of God's womb, the world's oldest memory. At the bottom of a valley somewhere in Abyssinia, we held prophets in our bosom and shaded them from hatred and lies. Yeah, we millions of miles away from the songs our great-grandmothers sung, strangling each other on social media, celebrating the same news they used to hang our fathers with, watching our children drunk with despair, tricked into believing all you are and all you got was just you, too blind to see the mud you pulled yourself out of is red with the blood of those who perish trying to hold you up. Keep you from drowning in the same self-hatred you advertising to our children, making them believe the back doors they building for themselves is the way out. Too confused to see the trap is actually what it is, a trap. We made it here by faith. We made it here by faith. Ring shouts and shotguns, stubborn will and prayer warriors. Runaway had to be the brilliance, the actual sun, son. We made something from nothing and turned the bottom into the foundation. So when we move, this whole place shook. Don't shrink in the back of the class and be fooled into believing the world is not better with you in it. Keep the faith. Stop running from who you are. You look like the darkness in the backdrop of your dreams, the canvas for the stars, the blanket the moon wraps itself in, where the best of you rest, waiting for the day you love yourself more than everything else this place offers you. Keep the faith. Keep the faith. Keep the faith. How else you think we got here anyway?
Ha ha! Yes, yes, yes. You know what? I don't need to do anything else today. I love you, Mayor. You are the mayor's mayor. You are my mayor. I love you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for coming on.
You got it anytime.